get started. And as people come in, hopefully they'll be able to follow along. I'm Catherine Bauer. I'm an Associate Dean in the School of Arts and Sciences in Division 1. I'll be talking more about divisions later on in this presentation. First, I wanted to welcome you and congratulate you on your acceptance to the University of Richmond. And we really are excited about being in person and having everyone back on campus in the fall. Everyone's still a little feral from having been in their COVID protected environments, but we're all very eager to get back into the classroom with students and meet you all in person. So let me give a brief outline of the session and then we'll get started with the presentation. So first we're going to go through some introductions. I have my colleagues Kelly Donnell and Manuela Meyer here. We'll all each introduce ourselves. Then I'll provide a brief overview of the liberal arts and general education and how arts and sciences is the heart of the University of Richmond. We'll look a little bit at interdisciplinary connections in the A&S divisions, and then we'll go into divisional differences in terms of majors and minors, what you can do with the majors and minors, and what kind of career paths students have taken. Then we'll talk a little bit about how to major and minor and about academic advising. And then we will look at each of the divisions 1, 2, and 3, as I said. Then we'll talk about how the Arts and Sciences Symposium is kind of a showcase for student work as a kind of culminating activity that illustrates how faculty and students work together. And then we will look at the synergies between the divisions and disciplines in arts and sciences and look at some examples of student work. And then we will go into the Q&A, which I hope you will have some questions for us. And then we will provide you with a link where you can look up more information at your leisure later on. So let's start with introductions. I'm Catherine Bauer. I'm an Associate Dean, as I said, in the School of Arts and Sciences. I'm representing Division 1. I'm also a professor of German studies and teach German language, literature, and culture, as well as film studies and Holocaust studies. Manuela, you want to introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Welcome, you spiders. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. As Dr. Bauer noted, my name is Dr. Manuela Meyer, and I am the Associate Dean of the Humanities and Social Sciences, otherwise known as Division 2 in the School of Arts and Sciences. And apart from serving as an Associate Dean, I am also an Associate Professor of History and Global Studies. My specialty area is Latin America, and in particular, I work on the history of Brazil during the 19th and early 20th centuries.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Donald. I'm a professor of chemistry here at the University of Richmond and one of the associate deans in the School of Arts and Sciences. I'm particularly responsible for Division 3, which is where we'd find the sciences, and we'll talk more about the division later on. In chemistry, my work is in the area of theoretical chemistry or computational chemistry, which is where we use mathematical and computational methods to solve chemical problems. I welcome you to the university, and I look forward to meeting some of you as the semester begins and progresses.
Thank you, Kelly and Manuela. So as I mentioned, arts and sciences is the heart of the University of Richmond and also the location for the liberal arts. And I know there are probably parents as well as students out there. And so I wanted to talk a little bit very briefly about what the School of Arts and Sciences has to offer, and then what the liberal arts as a program of study has to offer, and how it is in fact excellent preparation for life after the university and employment in the global marketplace. So the arts and sciences as the heart of the university, as you can read here, has a tremendous variety of options of disciplines you can study, as well as specific departments and interdisciplinary programs. We also offer a very small student faculty ratio. So you have a lot of discussion-based classes, opportunities for group work, collaborative learning. And as you will learn more about when Kelly talks about the symposium, there are also tremendous opportunities for student faculty research. So as far as the liberal arts are concerned, what does that mean? I think that's one of the most ambiguous terms for a lot of students coming from high school, and sometimes even for their parents. So it really is a program of study that combines practical and theoretical aspects of learning and knowledge that encourages synthetic thinking and adaptability. And these are all qualities that are important in the 21st century. So what we can do with liberal arts is, in terms of preparation for employment in the global marketplace, is there is this focus in the liberal arts on the human element that is conjoined with technology. What makes us human? How do we respond as humans? How can we synthesize knowledge and skills to tackle the problems we face as a society and a planet? This brings together the disciplines and interdisciplinary focus of the liberal arts, which includes the arts, languages and culture, humanities, social sciences, and the STEM fields. So the STEM fields are actually integrated into the liberal arts and not in opposition to them. So at the University of Richmond, every student begins as a student in the School of Arts and Sciences, and every student is required to complete a program of general education. And this is where some of the synthesis starts to happen and the interdisciplinary connections are made. So you have 6 fields of study that you will be completing. Some of those can be fulfilled through AP courses or other transfer work. And you also have a language requirement. Again, that can be fulfilled with AP courses or other transfer work. Or if you're a native speaker of another language, that can also sometimes fulfill your language requirement. And there's also a wellness requirement. You can find out more information about the specifics of these requirements on the website. We're not going to go into any kind of granular detail about general education requirements in this presentation. We're trying to offer you more an overview of the types of majors and minors you can find in the School of Arts and Sciences. So as we introduced ourselves, we mentioned the divisions. And these divisions, I should say, are somewhat artificial and they're also very porous. And you'll notice this as we continue through this presentation, that student career paths and postgraduate opportunities very often overlap. And a lot of our students double major or combine a major and minor, and frequently these cross divisions as well in ways that are actually very beneficial for the students and create a lot of energy and excitement in terms of making connections across disciplines, which is essential to a liberal arts education. So I will be talking about Division 1, Arts, Languages, and Cultures, and provide you with some overview, excuse me, of majors and minors in that division. And I should say I'm a product of this type of divisional overlap in my own undergraduate education, where I had a double major in German studies and psychology. And Kelling and Manuela may have similar stories to tell as far as their own backgrounds. And as you can see, there is a link, and this presentation will be archived. And I know Andrew and Andrea will probably send a follow-up where you can get access to this presentation, and you can follow up on these links in terms of getting more information specifically. So these are examples of student work from our symposium, and Kelling will be talking more about the symposium at the end of the presentation. But here you can see a student who did her own choreography in the dance program, and then someone from theater or the arts. I quite honestly can't remember where this art piece came from, whether it's an art piece or a costume piece, but you can really see the mastery of the discipline in these student productions. So within Division 1, there are 7 departments. You have Art and Art History, Classical Studies, English, LALIS, which is Latin American, Latino, and Iberian Studies, LLC, Languages, Literatures, and Cultures, which contains a lot of modern languages other than Spanish and Portuguese, Music, Theater, and Dance. And in addition to these programs, you have interdisciplinary programs in Film Studies and Linguistics. Film Studies draws on a lot of faculty from other departments in Division 1, and Linguistics also has faculty that cross departments as well. So students who have majored in one of these programs or in departments or disciplines have gone on to do a variety of things. So you have people who have gotten careers. We have someone who was in the arts program who became a cartoonist for the New Yorker. We have people who've gone on to careers in management, composition. You can see a whole range of areas here in terms of what students have been able to do Fulbright is listed here not as a career, but as a postgraduate opportunity. We have had tremendous success with students getting Fulbright scholarships to study abroad and do postgraduate work. Yeah, I'm not sure if we've lost Manuela, who is supposed to do the next segment. I don't know exactly what happened to Manuela. Kellen, can you see Manuela by any chance? She disappeared from my screen.
Yeah, I'm not seeing her here either, but maybe we could go to division.
Perhaps yeah, I don't see her either. So we're going to, whoops. I apologize. So we seem to have temporarily had, oh, no, she's coming back. So I see her returning. I apologize. Just give us a moment. Technical difficulties. Manuela, are you back? Okay, what I think I'm going to do, because Manuela is attempting to reconnect, I'm going to jump over, or I may just quickly summarize this for declaring a major and minor. So you can declare a major and minor in any of the departments and programs after your first year. So your first semester sophomore year is the earliest you can declare a major. If you declare the major within the first 2 weeks of the semester, you'll be assigned an academic advisor who will then advise you for the next registration period. So if you declare your major during the first 2 weeks of the fall semester, you'll be assigned an academic advisor in your major field who would advise you for registration in the spring of that year. And if you have a double major, you would select a primary advisor who would be your academic advisor, but you would still have a secondary advisor for your other major with whom you could meet and get advice, and you would still have access to that person, even though they wouldn't sign off on your registration for enrollment. So because Manuela is having difficulties, I'm going to skip over Division 2 until she's back with us. Kelly, if this is okay with you, and I will take us forward to Division 3, if that works for you. Yes?
That works, yes.
Okay. Oh, nope, she's back. Manuela, are you ready? Well, I just went over declaring a major. Manuela?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I went over declaring a major, so maybe we can go into Division 2.
Oh, not a problem. I had some Zoom difficulties, as I'm sure that many of us may be familiar with during this day and age. So thank you, Dr. Bauer, for going over declaring a major and a minor. So I would just like to talk a little bit about Division 2, the humanities and the social sciences. And I'm not certain if Dr. Bauer went over this, but students can major, double major, minor in academic disciplines such as education, geography, health, history, journalism, philosophy, political science, religious studies, rhetoric and communication studies, and sociology and anthropology. The School of Arts and Sciences offers support for interdisciplinary study through a number of programs that offer majors within the Bachelor of Arts degree. They are American Studies, Environmental Studies, Global Studies, Health Studies, Philosophy, Politics, Economics, and Law, otherwise known as PPEL, and Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, otherwise known as WGSS. And to be newly inaugurated this academic year, Africana Studies. If this embarrassment of riches is still not enough, the School of A&S offers a self-designed interdisciplinary major. This major provides a student the opportunity to propose and to pursue, with faculty supervision, a unique program of study leading to either a Bachelor of Arts degree or a Bachelor of Science degree with a major in interdisciplinary studies. It is important to note that at UR, we believe that the undergraduate study of education should be coupled with the major study of one of the above fields, setting up our emerging educators with a depth of knowledge from which to draw. So I just want to talk a little bit about the humanities and social sciences, given that these terms may be a little bit vague, if you will, but I hope that by elucidating a bit on them, we can gain some clarity, if not a little bit, on them tonight. Now, when we talk about the humanities, what exactly are they? The humanities are academic disciplines that study human culture. Or as we academics told Congress in 2013, quote, the humanities are disciplines of memory and imagination, telling us where we have been and helping us envision where we are going. From an academic standpoint, the humanities include the study of history, journalism, philosophy, religious studies, among other fields, namely in Division 1. Humanities research adds to our knowledge of the world as scholars investigate differences between cultures and communities around the world and across time, consider the ways art is made and received, or unveil the undercurrents that have shaped history, including the differences and commonalities we find between peoples of different religions, races, and ethnicities. Humanities education encourages students to think creatively and to critically reason and to ask questions. People from different walks of life across philosophical and political perspectives agree on the importance of the humanities. Film director George Lucas, some of you may have heard of him, of Star Wars fame, said this of the humanities, quote, the sciences are the how and the humanities are the why. Why are we here? Why do we believe in the things we believe in? I don't think you can have the how without the why. J. Irwin Miller, famed industrialist and civil rights proponent, also observed, the calling of the humanities is to make us truly human in the best sense of the word. To put it succinctly, the humanities are a foundational component of a liberal arts education. To put it simply, a sincere study of the humanities makes doctors better doctors, engineers better engineers, and citizens better citizens. So if that's what the humanities are, then what exactly are the social sciences? I confess, I was one of those first-year college students whose eyes glazed over whenever I heard the term social science. At least there was human in the humanities, the social sciences. Who? What? I learned over the course of my own college education that the social sciences writ large, or in general, are understood as a branch of learning that examine society's institutions, their structures, theoretical foundations, evolution, and interrelationships, and how they affect and are affected by human behavior. Social scientists are dedicated to better understanding the phenomena of human enterprise and social interaction and organization. In other words, they study the how and why of what people do or should do. A good shorthand way to understand the fine differences between the humanities and the social sciences is the following. The humanities help us understand and interpret the human experience as individuals and societies, while the social sciences help us understand how societies work by largely focusing on the world of organizations humans have created. Thus, while both the humanities and the social sciences share some of the same methodological approaches, like qualitative research, the social sciences may entail more quantitative and scientific methods. For example, as a student economist at UR, you might rely heavily on statistics and modeled forecasting to understand trends, whereas if you were to pursue political science, you would engage with related issues using surveys and polling to track political changes. Is there a hard division or separation between the humanities and the social sciences? As Dr. Bauer alluded to, no. The two branches of knowledge often have critical areas of overlap. Both the humanities and social sciences use analytical and interpretive approaches to learn more about the human world. Writ large, the differences between our three divisions, and in particular, divisions 1 and 2, are artificial, as Dr. Bauer mentioned previously, since professors and students throughout the divisions utilize a variety of tools that cross disciplines. I would like to underscore that UR faculty is composed of excellent teachers and active scholars who can and will help you narrow and deepen your studies to best serve your post-UR career and professional paths. Their enthusiasm for mentoring undergraduates can be seen in the courses they teach, as well as their individual research initiatives. Faculty members here at UR are uniquely passionate about student success and are committed to making a positive difference in the lives of our students. As lifelong learners and educators, we know that skills such as critical and creative thinking, effective communication, emotional intelligence, collaborative work ethic, problem solving, among others that are going to be found in the School of Arts and Sciences, will provide each of you with an excellent foundation on which to build successful and meaningful adult lives, whether they be in career paths and graduate opportunities such as public policy, government, archaeology, publishing, media, and so on. In particular, and in conclusion, I just want to also highlight that one of these departments and programs that actually serve as a connection between the between the disciplines as well as the divisions, correct, is health studies. And at this juncture, I'd like to turn the presentation over to my colleague, Dr. Kelling-Donald, who will talk about Division 3 and the opportunities found there.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Manuela. So Division 3 assembles the departments in the natural sciences, which include biology and chemistry and physics, along with mathematics and computer science and psychology, as you see here. And those areas, as we mentioned before, are distinct historical kinds of names for subjects that are dealt with, but also have internally a certain amount of overlap. In my own case, maybe my range was not as wide as Dr. Burr's, but I didn't quite do German and psychology, but I did a double major in chemistry and physics. So I was really within this realm to which Division 3 belongs. But just in terms of highlighting the relationships, one thing that becomes important, for example, is to emphasize the interrelationship between divisions and departments, is that in chemistry and physics, a lot of the work that was done up until the 1940s and 50s, a lot of the important work was being done in Germany and in Europe more broadly. So that a knowledge of German, for example, was important for many American scientists up until even the 1960s and 70s to be able to understand, to read with some fluency the literature from German academic journals. And so I want to emphasize that even though, again, we have these divisions, they are not hard boundaries. And here at the university, it's possible to go fluidly from one to the next. So apart from the departments, which offer majors and minors, BS degrees and BAs, we also have interdisciplinary programs. And those programs in Division 3 include biochemistry and molecular biology, in which you can get a major here at the university, or integrated science, which offers a minor. So these interdisciplinary programs are programs that try to draw on strength from individual departments and that acknowledge the interrelationship of disciplines, even within the sciences. So for example, biochemistry and molecular biology, as you hear from just the name, is linking across the apparent boundaries of chemistry and biology. And integrated science is an effort to try to weave in all of the pieces of scientific knowledge that need to be brought together to be able to confront particular questions. For example, on the issue of climate change, this is a physics problem as much as it is a chemistry problem because of all the gases that have been released into the into the atmosphere, as much as it is a psychological kind of question, because you have to help people to appreciate why they need to change behaviors in certain ways to improve the nature of what is happening in the environment. And of course, biology, because organisms are suffering because of changes to the climate. And modeling these kinds of changes is precisely the purview of mathematics and chemistry. And integrated science helps to bring students together to be able to see problems in this kind of holistic way and to begin to think about solutions. So if we go to the next slide, one thing I want to point out is that when we are in this area, the areas that are covered under Division 3, there are many opportunities that become open to us. And these career paths can be direct, but they can also be indirect compared to what you enter college hoping to do. So you might find a dynamic combination, for example, of degrees that will allow you to chart a relatively unusual path for your professional future. Or you might already have a well-established profession in mind. Probably you want to be a physicist, and that's what you know you want to do. And here at the university, you would get the undergraduate grounding to be able to do that and move on to graduate school. But maybe you will come in and you will find that you have an interest in chemistry, but you also have an interest in art. And you want to find new formulas and new kinds of chemicals that you can use in constructing paintings and so on. And so you will find that in these disciplines, you have options of being able to make connections. So for example, research and innovation is an important thing in the sciences. That's how we try to move things forward in the various disciplines. And of course, just coming out of COVID, we know that a lot of research and a lot of innovation went into bringing us to the point where we are now. Also, you might be interested in the sciences, but you're interested in law. Patent law is one of the places where that kind of interest can be served. Data science and statistics are important nowadays, especially with machine learning and other ways of thinking. With a lot of data being produced by many computers across the world, it's useful to have a way to bring those together. And so mathematics majors may be interested in data science or actuarial science. Students may be interested in healthcare. That's another area in which you can go. Of course, graduate schools are available for many of these disciplines in Division 3. You can go to graduate school in any of the areas I mentioned: mathematics, chemistry, physics, biology, psychology, and so on. And of course, you can also go into public service. We have seen on the medical side, people like Anthony Fauci, who is in public service, but is coming out of a scientific background, and many of the other people who have been involved in discussions on scientific implications of either advising governments on climate change or COVID and so on. And related to that is also consulting. So these are just some of the areas in which you can go. Agrochemicals is one of the places too, where there are some pesticides now that are facing backlash because of the other potential dangers that they pose. You may see some of these advertisements on the television that if you have used this chemical in the last 5 years, call this law firm. And so we are constantly trying to improve, to make chemicals that are friendly to the environment and to people who use them. Now, having started in a degree in the sciences, one of the important aspects of training, not just in the sciences, but across arts and sciences, is research. And many students, well, all students have the option or the possibility of engaging in some kind of intellectual work with faculty at the university. And that may come in the form of doing research during the semesters, or it may come in the form of doing research during the summers. So right now, for example, on campus, there are several students who are doing research with faculty across the divisions some who are based on campus and living on campus right now, and others who are working remotely in other ways. And to be able to bring all of these students across the divisions together, we organize annually an arts and sciences symposium. This year it was virtual, but usually it's in person where students present posters, some of which you've seen in some of the pictures already. And they share this with the community so that, for example, a German professor like Dr. Bauer or a history professor like Dr. Meyer may come to a psychology poster and say, tell me a bit about what you have been doing. And that gives students a chance to be able to report to others outside of their specific discipline what they have been doing, and to convey to them some of the enthusiasm that they have for the areas in which they have been studying. I have for you some examples of presentations that have been given. So, for example, here we have a presentation that was given from theater and dance, delivering a vision on stage management and marketing. From geography, we have analysis of socio-environmental impacts, for instance, and socio-environmental impacts of a proposed highway linking Peru and Brazil. And then in psychology, the second to last line there, we have students looking this year at the association between college students' use of social media and psychological adjustment during COVID, which I think some of you may be able to identify with. But here the student is looking at how having access to social media influenced how students were able to manage and to persist and to face the challenges of staying at home using social media. And there are also other examples from physics and from history and from LLC. And so the point I want to make here is that whatever area you are interested in, whatever it is that you want to come to the university to do, there are faculty members on campus who have lively and active research activities in those disciplines. And hopefully you'll be able to find a topic and a person to work with that will link deeply into the interests that you have for advancing your own academic engagement, and possibly inspire you to do something later on that's related to what you did research in. So on the next slide, I just want to echo what I think you have heard from us before about how happy we are to have you joining the University of Richmond community. We really are looking forward to meeting you, and thankfully this time in person we anticipate. So thank you very much for listening to the presentation, and welcome again to the university. Feel free, if you have questions, to share them, and we look forward to engaging with you in that way as well. The one last thing that I want to mention is that you can reach us, and this is on the next slide. You can reach us for more information. You can go to the as.richmond.edu website, and you'll be able to find there much of what we have talked about today, and more about the school, and also about the particular department or departments that you might be interested in. Also, if you're interested in a particular department, you can also feel free to use the traditional route of going on Google and typing Department of Physics, University of Richmond, and you'll be able to find the department that way as well. So thank you very much, and we will take your questions.
Thank you, Kelling. And I did want to just echo what Kelling said about reaching out if you don't have a question now, or if we have inundated you with so much information that you can't think of something at this time. It is something that department chairs are available for. If you have questions about specific majors or programs of study, you can locate that person. Their contact information will be on their departmental or program websites, and you can reach out to them there. There was one question that had been in the chat previously about whether you can do a senior project in 2 disciplines. I did type a response to that question. There is a way, as Dr. Meyer had mentioned, to do an interdisciplinary studies major. However, you can still do work for the symposium. And if you have a chance to look at some of the prior symposium information, there are students who worked with multiple faculty mentors from different departments on their projects. There was one on the graphic novel that was done with someone from Rhetoric and Communication Studies and someone from the English department is one example. So there are ways to do some of the things that Dr. Donald was talking about in terms of faculty mentored research, summer research, where you might have more than one faculty mentor.
So I see one question on on integrated science, and that is correct. Integrated science is offered only as a minor. I want to address to the next question, which is the difference between a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science degree. So the Bachelor of Science degree is designed for individuals who are focused on pursuing even into graduate school, a particular area in the sciences, and so it has a larger number of required science courses that the student has to do. The Bachelor of Arts has somewhat less, as a smaller number of required courses, and that allows you to be able to do more courses in other areas. And so, for example, if you know that you want to work in an area, for example, like science, let's say science journalism, then you might want to have a major in journalism and also and a BA in one of the science degrees, let's say biology or physics or chemistry. And that may be the way that you would set yourself up best to be able to proceed. Now, of course, you get to decide what would work best for you. And so once you are here on campus and looking and thinking about your options, then you will have a chance to be able to see whether a BA or a BS is ideal for you. And there's also a link that has just been shared that so Andrea just shared this, I think.
I just
so there's a link that has been shared that says more about the distinction between a BA and a BS.
And I just posted that link to echo what Dr. Donald noted in regards to the fine differences between the BA and the BS degree. Again, to emphasize what he just said, focusing on the ways in which that the BS degree has much more mathematics and science requirements, correct? And we see that many students interested in a career or a professional path more geared towards the technical fields go towards that BS degree. And you'll see with that link in the chat section, correct, that is the specific requirements that are required for the BA as opposed to the BS degree, so that when you get to UR, you can decide which is best for your schedule.
And to Susanna Carter's question in the Q&A, yes, you can double major between divisions. So if you, I mean, we certainly see this all the time. We have students who major in global studies and chemistry, or do English and biology as your example, German studies and history. So there's a lot of overlap. And I have to say that this is something that a lot of University of Richmond students do, that they will have cross-divisional double majors. Frequently, they'll have a double major with a minor. You can look on some departments and programs have information about student testimonials, and you can see what those students have done, or they may have a section on careers and you can kind of see what the students have majored or minored in. So that's absolutely possible and done quite frequently.
Yeah, so one example of that is a student who was here at the university shortly after I started, actually, who did a double major in chemistry and English and is now a lawyer. So there are many combinations that are possible.
So I know we may be the only thing between you and dinner. And I see that we have some participants have dropped off, but it does look like there is something in the chat about an IB diploma. Okay. I don't know if Andrea or Andrew, if this is a fairly, okay, Andrew is going to respond to that question. Thank you. Please do take advantage of our presence here. If you have additional questions, either in the Q&A or in the chat, we're really happy to answer anything that you might want to ask us.
Something that I wanted to add, in addition to what my colleagues had said, was that students, apart from being exposed to a variety of faculty members, departments, and divisions, also have hands-on experience through a variety of other different venues, such as the International Study Center, the Bonner Center for Civic Engagement, and a variety of academic internships and mentoring programs on and off campus, correct? So there are a variety of ways for students to explore different paths and experiment. Sometimes those paths are fruitful, sometimes they are not, but there are a variety of opportunities here at UR that are not often formalized, but please reach out and take advantage of them.
And just to piggyback on that, our career services is an excellent resource, and it's really, I think, can't be emphasized often enough to go to career services early and often and not wait until you're a junior or senior. I mean, there are a lot of ideas that you might get about synergies between disciplines that you can get by visiting them and looking at materials and getting advice from some of the professionals there. We have really an excellent career services program and facility for students.
Yeah, as we have talked about research, one thing I want to mention too, and this links also into the internship question, is to mention, or maybe to remind you, you may have heard about this in other sessions already, that the Enrichment Guarantee allows students one experience covered by the university during their time here. And this may be in the form of summer research, or it may be in the form of an internship outside of the university campus. And so if you have not heard already about the Enrichment Guarantee, then that's one thing too that you should also check into and listen out for. I'm sure that it will be mentioned again in other contexts as you come closer to starting here at the university. But that is an opportunity that you should try to make use of as much as possible. I should mention too that although only one experience is guaranteed under the Enrichment Guarantee, many students do more than one internship or summer research experiences during their time here. So it is quite normal for students to do research for 2 or 3 summers while they are undergraduates. And so the funding may come from different sources. Some faculty may have external funding through national organizations to support students, or funding may arise in other ways but it is quite common for students to work on projects for more than one summer, and also to present at the Arts and Sciences Symposium each April that they are on campus.
So there is one more question in the Q&A, and then I know we have to move on because Andrew and Andrea have to mentor the next webinar. There's another session on pre-health that's coming up in about 10 minutes. But to Kaylin Chandler's question, it's very common that a first-year student won't know what they want to major in, and you will get an academic advisor where you will have an opportunity to kind of brainstorm what interests you, what ideas you have. The general education curriculum also is a great way to expose you to some areas you might not have thought about that you might want to consider as a major. But yes, you can sort of dip your toe into a discipline where you think you might be interested because you want to check that out to see, and combine that with trying to do some of your general education at the same time. But your academic advisor would be the best place to get that kind of information. So I want to thank everyone again, and thank you for these great questions. And we will see you hopefully in person in August. We're looking forward to that. And thank you, Andrew and Andrea, for monitoring the session. And I hope the next session goes well. Good night, everyone, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. And say hello to us when you see us.
Yes, please. Take care.